I'm Greg, and this is the Ambassador Pools Closing Edition. Let's go. First things first, whenever I get to a house, first of all, I like to hit the deck with a leaf blower. This deck's really clean, but I like to just go around really quick and just kind of touch it up. Also, when we first get here, we take the ladder out. Super important when we take it out to keep the ladder, I like to keep the ladder cups on because if the ladder cups get lost, it can damage the liner. It's a relatively new pool. I dropped this pool off actually last year, I think. Comes out just like that. But there's water usually left in it. So you turn it one way, dump the water right out. Those ladder cups, super important. I like to leave those on. Because if you take those off and you put them somewhere and they get lost, and this ladder goes in with no ladder cups, it can damage the liner. So, all right, so I also like to take the door completely off right here. Now, this is where the water returns back into the pool. This comes off. There's going to be 3 pieces, okay? First 2 right here comes off. Now it's left with a threaded round piece that's still in there. Usually you can't get it out with my hands, right? Like I can't get that off with my hands. Grab it with a tool. A lot of customers, if they don't know that that comes out, then they go to put that plug in, it doesn't go in. So super important to take that out. I have a specific tool here to do so. Real easy. That's beautiful. Okay, so that's that. Basic things, take the ladder out, take the 3 pieces out, take the door off, take the skimmer basket out. He already took that basket out. Now we check the water level, right? So right here, actually this water's not too bad. Yeah, that water's going down. Typical in season, you want the water to be like right at this screw. This water's already pretty low, but we're gonna drain some anyway because I want you guys to just kind of see the draining process. First thing I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna shut the pump off, right? No big deal. I'm gonna take this off. I might not be able to do it by hand. Johnny, pass me, do you have a tool up there of any kind? No. So right here, if you come over here, okay, so you take this out. This water's gonna come out. It's not gonna come out that fast, not a big deal. There is a gasket on there. Super important not to lose that gasket. Now this is the same plug that's gonna go in the side of the pool where the water returns back into the pool. This is the plug we're gonna use. We're gonna put it off to the side for now. We don't wanna plug that off yet because we still wanna run chemicals through the pool, but we don't wanna run chemicals through the pool until we've drained it down to the height that we want. Because if we put the chemicals in when the water's draining, we can lose some of them. So this just goes in the side. It's kind of tough because the heater's here, but we'll get it in. You really wanna push it in. Push it in, push it in. Use the blue side, not the white side. I think this white side's a little bit smaller. So then we take this and we direct the water wherever we want to go. Gotcha. All right, so that water's coming out now, but when we turn the pump on, it's really going to come out fast. So we're going to turn the pump on. See that water kick in. Heater turns on. What I'm going to show you is you can fill the water bags with the water that is coming out of the hose when you're draining the pool. Now, Johnny's doing a great job with the hose up there, but this is just a fast way to do it. But the downside is then you're filling it on the ground. It's nice to fill them actually on the deck, but I just want to show you guys how fast this water bag can get filled when we use this hose. We don't want to fill it up all the way because we want to leave room for expansion and freezing over the winter. So we don't fill it up all the way, but just like that, done. And that's pretty fast. So that's that. We'll leave this off to the side. We'll pass it to Johnny when he needs it. We're gonna continue to drain down some of the water. Actually, we're good. We're good on water because they actually have a skimmer plug. Now, I'll use the skimmer plug because it's a typical cover, but if we have a, like say a loop lock cover, I don't like to cap the skimmer because we want the rainwater to be able to drain through the loop lock and then out the skimmer line. And we'll get to that a little bit more in a minute. So right now, I'm gonna shut this off. Forget where the friggin' thing is. There it is. I'm gonna shut this off. I'm gonna cap off the skimmer right here. Now they have this skimmer plug. Not everyone has this. So I like to drain the water below the skimmer line. Either or. If you cap it, you drain it below the skimmer line, no cap. You cap it, it's below the skimmer line, fine. It's not below the skimmer line, you cap it, it's like right here, no big deal. So we're gonna cap this off. But if you don't have this, you definitely want to drain it below the skimmer. Very easy. This just goes in the side. I already took the door off. So now what we're gonna do is we are going to run the water through the bottom drain. So I'm gonna adjust it on the 3-way ball valve. I'll show you, and the water's gonna run through here, and that's what we're gonna do when we add our chemicals. When you mix the chemicals, especially these specific ones, what I do, always add the water first. Don't put the chemicals in and then add the water to it, because it can get like really it can like harden up. So I pour this in and I put my hands in and I stir it that way, because I want to be able to really break it up, because I don't want any large clumps. I wouldn't suggest doing it this way, but this is how I do it. You can find something and stir it, but this is how I really know. And you just pour it in. This stuff is actually mixing up really well. Just pour it in here, and that's that. And we let it sit a little bit, and then we let that rest. We're gonna do them all separately. All right, so if you come down here, Johnny's doing a good job with those bags. If you come down here, I'm gonna show you how we're gonna get the system, how we're gonna get that stuff in the system, and we're gonna run it through the bottom drains, back in through the return. We don't wanna, like I said, we don't wanna put the chemicals in while the water is draining out. So I'm gonna take this back out. Okay, we don't need that right now. I'm gonna put the cap back in. Now there's water coming out of it, but it's not so much that I can't get the cap in, if that makes sense. It still can be done. Put the cap back in, no big deal, right? All right, now we're gonna turn the pump back on. Johnny, is there a flow of water coming out of there? Yeah, if you come here, see the water starting to come back through the return, starting to bubble up, okay? And what we're gonna do is, if you see this right here, this, where it says closed, that's where it's closed. So there's nothing there. So everything's open, okay? So right now, we don't want to run that system through the return. Why? Because the return is capped off. So this is our return line. I'm sorry, not the return, the skimmer. We don't want to run it through the skimmer because the skimmer is capped off. This is our skimmer line, okay? So what are we gonna do? We're gonna close it. So now we're shut off here. We still got our water from the water from the bottom drains, okay? And the return line is open, so the water's running back through the bottom drains. So now we know we can add our chemicals. Super important. We don't want to drain the chemicals out, and we don't want to run the pump through the skimmer when we want to block off the skimmer line when that skimmer is blocked off, or when the water is below that line. We want to block it off here because we don't need to be worrying about it anymore. So now we're in a position to put the chemicals in. When I put the chemicals in, I can actually start with this bag here. The winter alkalinizer. This stuff is really fine, so I don't need to mix it with water. So I got a little bit of a water flow here. If I pour it in, if you can see here, if you come over here, you can see how the water picks it up. You see that? See how it moves it? So I just pour that in just like that. Just like that, the water moves it, get it circulating. That pressure's a little bit light there. I'll try to get it. That pressure's a little bit light there. Just give me a second. I'm just gonna check something really quick. Flow's a little bit light there. I like to clean this out right in there, because what does it matter, right? Because we're gonna take this all apart anyway. Okay, so ton of pressure coming through there. I don't love it. There we go. It's a little bit light on the pressure. So you're good, right, Johnny? So do me a favor, grab the stick, We're a little light on the pressure coming through, so this is another thing we can do. We can stir. We're gonna stir it in. I want you to see this anyway. So Johnny's gonna follow behind me, and as I pour it in, he's just gonna kind of stir it. Now, when you're stirring, make sure you do it upside down. Don't take that off and use a metal sharp end. Super important. This stuff's really good. You don't gotta mix it. I love it. I like to add a little more water. All right, Johnny, keep going. Now we're adding this here. This stuff mixed up really good. Keep doing that. I'm gonna do the last one. This stuff's blue. It can be really clumpy though. See, there's like big pieces in it like this. Drop it in though. Smash it up. Super important, smash this stuff up. I like to do it with my hands. Johnny doesn't like that. I love it. It's like candy. I almost want to just kind of want to take just a little bite every now and then. You know what I mean? Reminds you of when you were a kid, what are they called? Those big Smarties, those big round ones. I think they came like 4 in a pack. They're big, soft. What were they? Sweet Tots? The big Sweet Tots. No, like the large Sweet Tots. I don't know, whatever. We're getting off track here. We're getting off track.
Is that why you have no hair on you?
Because I've just been doing this.
It just burns.
Oh, gosh. Let's go. Mix it up. It's like blue raspberry creatine. We'll call it chloratine.
Yeah.
Here I am. Had a company prior to this. Decided to do something else. Met Danny at the MMA gym where I met Johnny. And yeah, man, it's been awesome ever since. I love it here. Took on a new position, doing managing the service department. Still doing deliveries. I delivered this pool. So I've delivered this pool, opened it, closed it, you know. So I've been here a few times. These people are really nice. Johnny's gonna figure out the direction of the cover because it may not seem like a big deal, but the way it unfolds is important because if we unfold it the short way and we want to go the long way, then we got to twist the whole thing. What I want you to do is I want you to kind of pull on the top in the middle.
Oh.
Just a little, get that ruffle out. You're kind of on the railing there, go a little over. Good. Now do it again on the middle over here. On this side. What we're doing is we set this cover in a certain way, we drain the water, and now what I'm doing is I'm squaring the cover in so that when it rains, as it fills up, it creates kind of like a pocket, and then the people can pump it off. We don't want it pulled tight. We want it to have like a pouch, and as it fills, they can, you know, they can pump it off. That looks good, Johnny, yeah. Kind of like what Matthew used, similar to what Matthew used to use. Okay, so what I'm doing here, as I'm standing on it, see how I'm kind of pushing this? I really want to square it in. I want this to be flat here. I want this to be flat here, okay? Underneath, we're gonna tie it underneath. We're not gonna tie it to the fence, super important. And we'll get to that in a minute.
All right.
But this cover currently is looking really, really nice. It's laid in here really nicely. But super important, when we start taking the pump apart, there's gaskets all inside. You want all those gaskets to come out. First of all, you want to make sure that you hang the correct hose up high because if you have that hose low, the pool can drain out. So it's super important. You want to tie it off. You want to hook it in. I like to hook it in the fence and then tie it off so it's a little bit extra support. They also, you want to make sure that that the water is kind of drained out of everything. You know, like I said, I manage the service department, so I'll get these calls and people say like, oh, this is cracked, this is that. And then when you start to talk to them, say, hey, did you put that stuff away? Oh, no, I just kept it all hooked up. I didn't know that, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's one of those things, you know. I like to know that we did it. And then if they have us do it, when they do call the service department, if it's, hey, this and that, went to open my pool, I couldn't find this gasket, I couldn't find this. You say, well, we did it, so... You know, I look up who did it. You know, where's the gasket? We got to bring them a gasket. No big deal. If they close their own pool and you know, things are cracked and they're missing gaskets, this and that. I say, well, you know, we don't know what happened when the closing happened. At least we can track it down when we do it. So yeah, super important as far as when it comes to us doing it. The stuff that happens with the filter, the frogger, the pump, you know, you want it done a certain way, gaskets taken out, hoses hung a certain way. Your one hose hung a certain way. The other two hoses I'll leave down, and I'll get to that. But, all right, so now we're gonna get onto the pump stuff. This is a good thing to have for a customer to have, this wrench right here, and maybe a Celsius too. Oh.
Maybe one step.
Let's go, baby. Just gonna shut the pump off. All right, shut the pump off. That'll probably go off shortly. I'm gonna take this out. Johnny, you up on there? Yeah. I'm gonna take this out. A little bit of water coming out, right? I don't care. I don't mind it. I kind of want it to come out a little bit because we're not all the way down below the skimmer line. I'm sorry, below the skimmer line anyway. This cap is the same cap that's gonna go in the return. Yeah. All right, so anyway, same cap that comes out the side that we pull out of here is the same cap that goes into the return. So Johnny's gonna go in there and plug it now. Probably should have did it before we laid that part of the tarp, but no big deal. I wanted to get that done. I wanted to help him with that. I don't like to put water bags on until that tarp's setting in the correct way that I want it in there. Because like I said, once those bags go on, it can get, I know, it's beautiful, isn't it?
What?
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna move on. So little air release valve here. Ooh, that's hot. Just gonna turn it, a little air come out. Super easy. Right here, okay? Just gonna turn this, easy. Very, very easy. Now right here, it's kind of like a little bit of a tool, goes in the side, and this is how we're gonna pop this off. This looks like it was, like had some like lubrication put on it, probably to get this on. So I'm gonna put this in the side like this. Just gonna turn it once, just like that. I'm gonna pull this out. I don't love the look of this filter. I'm gonna move it over here, let that drain. That water's gonna kind of trickle its way out. I'm gonna turn this here. This is probably just gonna make its way out. We got nothing coming through when I push the thing because we capped off the, what did we cap off, Johnny? The return. So we're good. We got no water coming through. Everything's good right now. This goes in the filter cartridge. We're gonna clean it though. There. I like to keep everything together. This gasket, this rubber gasket that's on this here, I leave this one in. It's one of the ones I leave in. Gonna put this over here. Johnny will hose that off. Johnny will hose that off in a bit. I don't love it. Maybe we get some new, maybe they get a new one. We have our bottom drains. As you can see, okay, we have a return line, right? We have our line coming in from the skimmer. We have our bottom drains, okay? We have our return line here because it's coming out of the frogger, right? Makes its way back in, okay? We have our bottom drains here, and we have our skimmer here, which is capped. So if you don't know, and you're looking at this and you're saying, what's going on? I don't know which way. Like I said, where the closed side is, that's when it's closed. So look what happens. See the water come through? We got the water coming through, right? I'm gonna close it here, boom. If you don't know, take it off. See what happens. This has string on it. So that might be the one that they used to tie it up with. I don't like that string that they used, but they might have been me. So as you can see, you have that one. I'm gonna close this here. You see that water coming out like that? It's coming out continuously. We have a gasket there. That gasket came out from right there. That water's coming out continuously, so we know that's our bottom drains. So we're just gonna hang it up. There it is. Now we're safe, right? Nextly, gasket here. Next one, tighten that a little bit. Sometimes you can do it with your hands. Sometimes you can do it with your hands. I'm only turning that because it's kind of in the way. All right, now, here is our skimmer line. I'm gonna leave this line down, which I do anyway. That's, oh, there it is. Oh, we were missing one. 2 gaskets, okay? Gasket here and a gasket here, and there's also a gasket here. But this I'm gonna leave connected to the pump basket and the pump itself. So those there, this line here, this is the skimmer line. So I'm gonna leave it on the ground. I would leave it on the ground, definitely leave it on the ground when it's a loop lock cover. This situation, I'm gonna leave it on the ground anyway. That way there, if any, you know, a little bit of water in there too, just like a little bit that's left. You know, a little bit of, you know, suppose the skimmer, the plug pops off a little, or, you know, you get some condensation in there, the water can kind of just, you know, make its way out. So this I like to leave down on the ground also. And I want to show you what we need to do with the gaskets, okay? So this, first of all, we got to unplug this. It's kind of like a twist and lock. There it is. Boom. This here. I'm going to loosen this up. Friggin' a lot of mulch over here. Whatever. Take that off. I like to clean the basket in there because this is kind of hard to hose out sometimes. It's not that easy to get clean, so just clean it right in there because we're going to take this all apart. We're going to clean that water out anyway. So, and then this is where we put our gaskets. Super important. All right, so now we have our pump. Easy to take out. There's a little thing here you just kind of push down. Take this, and this I like to just empty it right out. Now,
Yeah.
super important. I like to empty the water out because if water stays in there over the winter, it can freeze. These people are great. They're probably going to put it in there, then it's probably climate control in there. But certain people, you know, they might put it in the shed or something. I don't love it in the shed, honestly. I mean, it can get pretty cold in there too. So, I mean, I prefer it to be maybe in a basement or kind of a more climate control area. If it's a sunny day out, I like to tell them to just kind of let it sit out. Let it sit out a little bit. You know, and let it kind of dry out a bit. So, all right, so we got 2 gaskets there now. We're gonna have 2 more. We got 2 gaskets here. We got a gasket here. Another gasket in there. We got 3. We should have 2 here, and then we should have 2 on the, actually, so wait a second. We're gonna have 1 there, and then we're gonna take 2 out of here. I think we're gonna have 6 in total, 6 or 7 in total. Take this off here, right? Should have a gasket in there. And this just twists off, right? Real easy. But again, I like to drain the water. And I'm gonna put everything in here, but I'm gonna do it a certain way. And I'll get to that in a little bit. So that we're gonna leave there, so we're all set there. We do have a gasket in the side here. This one's a little harder to get at. Oh, almost came out. We'll do the metal. This I'm going to take off completely. I don't want to leave anything on here. Ooh, that's really on there. Wow. Okay. Take that off. Gee. Yeah, there it is. And we got a gasket in there. Johnny's cleaning that filter off and it's looking really good. Still got some water coming out of this heater. We're gonna hit it with the leaf blower after to kind of make sure we get most of it out anyway. All right, we have a gasket in here. I'm gonna take this gasket out. We don't want to lose it. So the way I get the gasket is I just kind of like put a little pressure on it like that. Just kind of put a little, not that easy, but put like a little pressure on there. Kind of like pops out. Try to anyway. If not, we get it with a flathead. All right. Two keys. What the heck? Might be onto something. Sometimes people can't get them open. Use 2 keys. Wow. See that, Danny? 2 keys. Flathead. Probably should have left it connected when I did this, but it's tough. There it is. Okay. Then get a new one of these. Get a new one of these. Actually, some in there. Wow. Some in there. Feels like it. All right, Frogger pack. Frog is beautiful. I have a salt pool, which I love, but the Frogger is nice. But I really love the salt, so we got 2 gaskets in the heater. Don't let me forget. Now we're gonna take this off. This is what goes to the return, where the water returns back into the pool. So this one we're gonna leave down also. We only really need to leave one up. Johnny gave me kind of a flathead sort of thing. We're gonna do this with, that came right out, wow. Easy peasy, one there, one there. I like to keep all the gaskets together. So, I'm gonna put these in here and we're gonna lock that up. We'll get to that shortly. What I like to do is once we have the gaskets all together, all right, so we got one there, one there. So there's 2. There should be 7. I think there's about 7 with the heater. Let's see if I got my math right here. Let's see, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what I said. Put that in there. Put that little cap in there. Put everything in there. 3 pieces that we had from the return. Gonna put that in there as well. Once that's all in, we cap it. And that's it, that stays. There's a gasket in here also, but that one we're gonna leave. Yeah, we're gonna leave that one in there. All right, so, boom, that's that. Get the base, hose the base off, why not? We're already here. Hose my friggin' feet off. Take this, I put it in upside down, like that. Then once that's in upside down, then I take the posi lock ring. And nice when you hear it go boom, you're good. And we'll put this wherever they want. Or if they want to let it sit out in the sun, I like that too. Lastly, I'm gonna grab my leaf blower. So this is what I like to do with the heater. Just want to get like a little bit of water out of it. See, we got a little bit coming out. Starts to make its way out. Ben says you can, one of our guys, Ben says you can kind of just tip it and get it out, but I don't know, I like doing it like this. So if you see here, the way that Johnny did this, we like to tie these strings. We want to go underneath to us like a support post. I'm gonna do this a little tighter. We'd like to go underneath to a support post. All right, so here, I'm just gonna find a loop here. Put that just like that. Get it tight. Johnny, look at this kid, huh? Hey, look at this kid, dude. He's filling the bag with it through the loops. Wow. Showing him everything, huh? Wow. All right. Okay, okay. It's here because he's either gonna go here or he's gonna go here, right? Because we don't want to go, I don't want to go on this or I don't want to go on this. That doesn't mean we want to tie this here. Because look at all that slack. I want to come around to over here. So I'm getting the pressure pulling on the corner of this, right? Just try to fix those ruffles if you can when you get over there. I can do it when I get up there. I like to go right through this like fabric piece here. Super. Right here, boom. Pull it right through the fabric piece. Then we're gonna crank it right underneath. I love it. This loop's not being used, so we'll go through it. Not a big deal whether it's in it or not because we're kind of on the corner there, but why not? Go back under there like that. Wrap it around. Get it tight, we're good. Okay, so when I first get to a job to do a pool closing, the first thing I do is I like to look at where the water level is. We've got like a lot of rain this season, so you know some water levels can be pretty high. This one's pretty good, but people really should be kind of draining the water as they go along as it starts to get a little too high on the skimmer. So in this situation, the water was drained down pretty good. Just basically plug the hose in, drain a little bit more water, and then we're going to cap the skimmer off. As I'm draining the water out of the pool, we got Johnny. He's filling the water bags. He's filling them with the hose. You can also fill it with the water that you use when you drain through the filter housing. So that's that. And then we basically like to get into chemicals. I like to really mix the chemicals well. Put the water in the bucket, get the chemicals mixing, kind of get the stuff really broken up. And you can run the chemicals through the pool once you're done draining the water. And then whether you cap the skimmer off or if you drain below the skimmer line, we like to start running the chemicals after that. We don't want to do it while the water is draining because then you can kind of like, you know, lose the chemicals as you go. So basically we get into that. We're going to mix the chemicals in, get the chemicals all mixed in. Johnny gets pretty good. He's pretty along well with the water bags. It's only 10 water bags, so it's got 3 on each long side and then 2 on each short side. Once he gets that done, he runs ahead and he starts stringing up the corners of the pool to tie down the cover. Now, this is just a little bit of extra thing that we like to do on top of having the water bags on there. So he gets that all strung up. He does one in each corner. He does the corners right here, and then he also does one on the middle on the long side. So that's the cover. And then when we lay the cover in, we like to lay it in and we like it to I really like to square it into the water to create kind of a pocket for when the rain comes so the customer, you know, can pump the water off easily. I don't want all the water circulating to the middle. I want it to kind of be spread out as it rains, so it makes it a little bit easier for them when they do the pumping of the water. So basically, at that point, I can start getting into taking the pump apart, taking the filter apart, and the heater. So basically, when there's a heater, we have 7 gaskets that we need to remember. You're gonna have 2 gaskets on the heater. You're gonna have 2 gaskets on the 3-way ball valve because one side we keep on, so we don't have to worry about that gasket. And then there'll be 2 so 2 on the heater, 2 on the 3-way ball valve. There's 2 on the Frogger, and then there should be 1 on the filter housing, I believe. If I got that right. So that's that. We want to make sure we have those 7 gaskets. I put them in the basket, and then I kind of cap the basket off. That's the pump basket, the basket that's connected to the pump. I leave that connected to the pump with the 3-way ball valve connected to it. Part of the reason I leave the 3-way ball valve connected is so that it doesn't get lost. One, it eliminates having to store 1 gasket, and it keeps it from getting lost, because if someone misplaces a 3-way ball valve, you go to open the pool and you're in some trouble there. So so I get the 7 gaskets, we cap it off, put it off the side. I make sure when I take the hoses off, make sure that I have the 3-way ball valve turned a certain way so I'm blocking the water in the right spot. If you get it wrong, like I said, it's not that big a deal. You know the water's coming from the bottom drains if the water is continually flowing out. Now, the cap that we took out of the filter housing when we put the hose in, that's the same cap that we used to plug the return in the pool, which also has a gasket on it. So we're gonna make sure that's there. We take the 3 pieces out, 3 white pieces. One's the eyeball to direct the water, and then you have the threaded piece, and then you have kind of like the housing. Those come out, and then the plug goes in. Like I said, the same plug from the filter housing. Cap that off, cap the skimmer off if they have a skimmer plug. And again, if they don't, you just drain the water below, no problem. So now you're not worrying about any water coming through the hoses on the skimmer right now or coming through on the return. But you do need to worry about the water coming through from the bottom drains. So once you start disconnecting it, when you see that constant flow of water, you know that's the bottom drain hose. And then we take the bottom drain hose, hook it up inside the fence for now. I go on with the rest of the things that I need to do, and then we come back and we tie it off. So that's that. We got to make sure our gaskets are where they want to be. We cap that off. Make sure the everything gets dried out. I like to empty the water out, let it sit in the sun if it's a sunny day, blow the water out of the lines with a leaf blower on the heater, and that's pretty much it. The cover's squared in, and that's it. Everything's good.